I've always been fascinated with actors' early breaks, because I don't know if a lot of people know that you used to be a dancer.
Yeah, I danced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you were in the chorus of Royal Hunt of the Sun.
I was where I got my. That's where I got out of dance.
Now, what happened that got you
That
out
got
of the
me
chorus?
out?
Yeah.
Well, the thing that got me, first I'll tell you what got me into dance. When I was in school and I was taking my acting theater arts courses, one of the courses that you have is dance movement, and my dance movement instructor said, you have an affinity for this, so you should follow through. Well, you can't, in order to do dance, you have to dedicate yourself. So I became dedicated to dance, and so I sort of was rinsed in the wrong direction for 5 years. I was really serious about dance. And I got this job, and we were on tour, and I had, along with that, I was doing an understudy role, and I got to go on one night in the part, you know, and it was like, bam, like a thunderbolt. And it was like, this is what you're supposed to do, man. You can't, you're not a dancer, you're an actor. You know? I never went for another audition as a dancer after that. That was in 1966. In 1967, I started working.
There's a lot of stories of people arriving in Hollywood being a bit on the naive side about how the city works. When you first arrived in Hollywood, did you go down to Paramount hoping just to introduce yourself and get
I went down to Paramount with the idea of getting a job. And somebody would say, well, okay, Morgan's here. Stop everything. I thought that would happen. I couldn't see any reason why not. But that's why you do that. That's why you go, you know. You can't think ahead of time, well, this isn't going to do me any good. Heck, you never try anything. So, yeah, I went.
Yeah. What happened when you got to the
Well,
studio?
this lady said, she got this card out and said, go over there and fill this out. And it said, how many, name, address, blah, 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 and job, just your job, your career, whatever you've done before that, and what office machines do you operate. And I said, this isn't, look, I'm an actor. She said, do you belong to the union? Well, what union? Screen Actors Guild. You have to join the Screen Actors Guild first. So, oh, okay. So where is that? And I walked to the screen. I didn't have a car for a whole year. The full first year I was in Los Angeles, no car. I went to the Screen Actors Guild, and they said, well, do you have a job? I said, well, no, they told me I had to belong to the union before I get a job. I said, well, yeah, but you have to have a job before you can join the union. I said, aha, it's a conspiracy. You all don't want me here, do you?
Now, weren't you an extra in the movie
I was an
The
extra
Pawnbroker?
in the Pawnbroker, A Man Called Adam, Where Were You When the Lights Went Out? Yeah.
Well, Pawnbroker.
And another one, too, I just remembered, with Julie Andrews.
Yeah. Well, what kind of things would you do to get yourself noticed when you were an extra?
Well, you don't want to do things to get yourself noticed as an extra. They get you thrown off the set, actually, because who told me that? Somebody, when we were doing the picture of A Man Called Adam, what happens if you get noticed is they notice you, and if they're going to shoot again tomorrow night or the next day or next week, you're not going to be called because they noticed you. You don't want to be noticed as an extra. I didn't know that the first time out, and I was doing The Pawnbroker. And I'm not sure I was even noticed. It's just that there was a crowd scene, and it was too busy, and they kept waiting it out until finally I was the only one left in that scene. But you couldn't see me in any way because it was pitch black. You know, they had Ron Steiger lit, and I was just in the fuzzy background. I remember going to see it to look for my scene. And said, that was me. You know?
You know, I'm always fascinated with how the chain of events can impact an actor's career. Now, Christopher Reeve and the movie Superman 4. Now, why was the desire to make Superman 4 a major impact on your career?
Well, it was Golden Globus' desire to make Superman 4, and not Chris Reeves. So they were trying to get him to do it, you know, and he had another little project that he wanted to do, so he threw that in as a sop, said, okay, if you let me do this, I'll do Superman 4. So that was street smart. And I auditioned for that, for the role of the pimp in that, and got it, and there it is.
When that movie kind of opened and closed fairly quickly, it wasn't really like a huge box office hit. But when the Oscar nomination came for you, did that come as an utter shock that the film had basically come and
It
gone?
became a shock to Canon Films is what happened. Because they hadn't thought to campaign that movie at all. They'd made it as a sop to Chris, just to make him happy because they wanted him to do Superman 4. And he was balking at Superman 4, having done 1, 2, and 3, you know.
So
it was a throwaway for them. And then when they got all that noise, you know, they'd sold the film, they didn't even own it anymore.
when you win an Oscar, of course, you get the statue. When you get passed up for an Academy Award, what kind of mementos do you keep from the ceremonies?
Oh, you have that certificate that they give you for your nomination. Yeah. That's why I have certificates all over the place for different nominations that I've had.
Is that not quite the same thing, though, or?
Well, someone asked me earlier if there was an Oscar in my future, and my answer was, I certainly hope not. I like getting nominated, so I don't mind collecting these certificates. The statue you can keep.
You know, it was fun last night when I arrived in New York. I got in the elevator and you were there. And a lot of times you run into a star and they don't make eye contact, and you said hello and we chit-chatted, and I thought it was very gracious of you. When you were early in your career, when you were an extra, you were a bit player, did you ever see big-name actors who did not treat people well, or did treat people well, and did it ever have an impact on you?
When I was beginning actor, the person who had the most impact on me, and just in terms of being major, well-known, and a person, was Pearl Bailey. She was an extraordinary professional, very warm lady, and straight up. And, you know, you see someone like that function, you say, this is how to be, you know. So, and it's this business of being on the elevator. Sometimes I think actors don't know who I know. I don't. I don't know who I know. You, I know, you know. But there are a lot of faces you look at, and because so many people greet you as if you're
old friends.
Old friends. You walk through life confused, you know. So you don't make eye contact because you never know if someone speaks to you. Hi, how you doing? Right, but. I'm not sure that they're just being nasty. They're just scared, you know. Because sometimes someone will say hi to you just like you just had breakfast with them, and you're working your brain trying to think of a name or make a connection, and there's none. So, you know what I mean? It just it can confuse you.